All right, Face Street amigos. So hopefully you're at your art station ready to roll. So like I said, you're gonna need kind of this big sheet of paper that says it's all about creation. So what we're gonna do in the different numbers is we're gonna draw or color what happened in there. So you can either play the song again and listen to what happens, or you can have your parents read what's in each box, or if you can read what's in each number, and it will kind of help you with what you need to do. So option one, like I said, the easy option is we are just going to color everything in, and then you kind of get this gigantic, huge poster that you can hang in your bedroom to remind you about what God did for creation and how it took how many days? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to make everything, and 7 he just rests. And then there's a little bonus spot on here where you get to draw your favorite part of creation. So maybe it's an animal, maybe it's trees, maybe it's flowers, who knows what it is, but everyone's gonna have their own favorite, and you can draw it in that box, okay? So I'm gonna start with this just for a little bit, and then I'll show you kind of the advanced option of what we're gonna do as a second choice if you don't want to use a poster, okay? So let's all color. I'm gonna start on number 1, day 1, because it's easy, right? So on day 1, what did God create, right? He created day and night. That's how we started. He said, hey, I gotta create some light and some dark. You gotta separate the two. So what I'm gonna do on my sheet is I'm gonna split the number 1 in half, and I'm gonna color the top half yellow, and I'm then gonna color the bottom half black, because that looks kind of like night and day, right? Light and dark. Top part is light, and the bottom part will be dark. So I'm using markers for my art utensil of choice. Maybe some of you guys have been doing stuff. You remember your lessons from Miss Cindy, so you're doing some watercolors. Maybe you're colored pencil people. Maybe you're crayon people, right? A lot of people love crayons. I used to love getting the boxes of crayons that were like the 96 pack or whatever it was. That was always really exciting. So as you're doing this, another thing you can think about is what you're gonna put in that special box for what's your favorite part of creation. Like I said, maybe it's a flower, and if you have a favorite type of flower, you can put that in there. So maybe it's a sunflower, or maybe it's a daffodil, or a lily, one of those things. So think about what you want to put in there. Maybe it's a tree, maybe you like pine trees because they remind you of Christmas, or maybe you like maple trees because you can get maple syrup from them. All right, so I'm going to show you what I came up with here for my number 1, okay, really quick. So there's my number 1, right? The top part you can see is yellow, and then the bottom part is black. So we got our light and we've got our dark, right? Day, night, light and dark, okay? So I'm just gonna do number 2 really quick as well. So what does it say happened on day 2, right? If you remember from the song, God threw up some water and he froze it in the sky, and he created sky. He threw water in the air, created sky. So what am I gonna do on my number 2? I'm gonna draw some additional clouds in my number 2. So besides just the ones that are hanging off on here, I'm gonna make a couple more in there. And then I'm gonna color my number 2 blue, because that is what color the sky is. But sometimes the sky is also different colors, right? Have you ever seen that? Where sometimes the sky is like a little reddish when the sun is going down or when it's coming up in the morning. Sometimes it's gray if it looks like it's gonna rain, right? Sometimes it can even have shades of purple in it. So there's a lot of different colors the sky can actually be. So let's color in our sky. And I'm gonna go with a dark blue at the top, and then I'm gonna go light blue at the bottom, because I think that'll be kind of fancy. So we'll go a little fancy. And I'm gonna try my best when I'm coloring, since I'm doing a dark color on the top, I'm gonna leave my words visible, which means I'm gonna make sure that you can still see them. Because right, if you color over your words with a dark marker, it will be hard to read what they say, and we want to know what happened on day 2 of creation. So I don't know what you guys do, but when I was little, I used to love looking up at the sky at the clouds and I would try to think about different things they looked like. So I used to look and see if they looked like a different animal. Like sometimes you could say, oh, that looks like a bunny rabbit. Sometimes you see an alligator, right? If it's a really long cloud and it looked like a long snout. And you could see different things. Maybe it wasn't animals. Maybe you saw like a castle, or maybe you saw different shapes. You're like, oh, it looks like a pyramid. It's a triangle cloud. So there's a bunch of different stuff you can kind of see in clouds. So if you're ever outside, and your parents tell you, go outside and do something, enjoy the nice weather. Something you can do if it is sunny and it is not a cloudy, like gray, cloudy, rainy day, is you can look at the clouds and see if any of them look like different shapes or something different than just clouds. And you might have to use your imagination a little bit. And your imagination is actually a lot of fun to use, because that is what lets you see different animals. So instead of just looking for clouds, you might want to do this. You do a little squinting. Sometimes that helps you squint to see if it looks a little different for you. And then you imagine, which means you pretend that it looks like an animal, or it looks like a building or a city or something like that. And then you can go inside and you can tell your mom, yeah, I went sightseeing. I saw some pretty cool stuff. I saw some skyscrapers. I saw an alligator eating a dinosaur. And then I also saw a pig that was flying around. There was a bird that had the shape of a turtle for a head. All those kind of crazy things. So you can go kind of wild with what you see in the clouds, right? So enjoy yourself outside. It's good to get outside. All right. So hopefully you guys are almost done with your number 2. I'll show you mine real quick. All right, like I said, I did double color. So dark blue at the top, light blue at the bottom, and I drew some extra clouds in there. And clouds are easy to draw, right? You just got to draw little fluffy things, just like what's around there, okay? So you guys should finish the rest of your poster. You'll do number 3. Day 3 is what? God created land, trees, and plants. Day 4, he creates the sun and the moon and the stars, little outer space. Day 5, he ends up creating the birds and the fish in the sea. On day 6, he makes animals and people. And on day 7, as we already talked about, he rests. So there's not even anything for you to do in there. You just get to go crazy and make the words really, really colorful. And then fill out your little bonus spot there, okay? So color it all in, and then once you guys are done coloring in your poster, if you're just going with version 1 of the craft, right, then put a picture on Facebook so it can see your coloring skills and what you ended up drawing in the different numbers, okay? If you want to do the advanced one, what we're going to make is kind of this creation pop-up book. So like I said, you're going to need 8 sheets of paper. How this was done is you can see I just cut out the word creation that's on the poster at the top there. And then what we have is as you open up the book, right, your numbers are going to flap open. So there's day 1, right? We have our day and night. We've got day 2. There's our clouds, right? Because he made the sky. We have day 3. I drew a flower for day 3 for myself and colored in the tree. Day 4, we have sun and moon, right? The sun and the moon, because he made the sun, moon, and stars on day 4. Day 5, we made birds and fish, right? So I drew a shark and a bird in there, right? And then we have on day 6, he made animals and people. So I drew 2 people in there with the sun, the sky, some grass, and then I cut out the giraffe and the sheep, right? And day 7, on the 7th day, God rested from all his work, so I just colored in the words. So here's how you make this little pop-up book. It's pretty easy, but it's gonna be, you're probably gonna need some help from your parents, okay? So what you have to do is you're gonna take a sheet of paper, just like this, regular printer paper. As you can tell, I used a bunch of different color paper to make it more fun, but something you can do that I didn't do is you can draw on the paper to make even more colorful things than just your numbers. So you can add more if you want to. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold this paper in half. And just like the last time we did a craft, this is, since we're making the paper fat still, when I was little, this was called hamburger style. Hot dog style, we would make it tall and skinny. So you're gonna fold it in half. So what you have made then is, right, kind of like 2 pages of a book. So we can open it up, right? So we have 2 pages, okay? So then what we're gonna do on our half sheet of paper here is we are gonna cut 2 slits. So you're gonna need some scissors, okay? So on the side that's folded, so down here, right, we're gonna cut here, so you want it folded in half. We're gonna cut 2 slits. So we're gonna cut one kind of about, we'll say, 1/3 of the way down the paper. So what that means, well, maybe it'd be like 1/4, I guess, right? So if we divided the paper into 4 pieces. So we're just gonna cut a slit, and I'll show you this in a second after I do it. And then a little further down, we're gonna cut another one, okay? So give me 1 second while I cut my slits, okay? So now my paper, as you can see, I cut 2 slits, so now it kind of has this fold in here, right? So this is gonna be what creates our pop-up, okay? So what we need to do now after we cut these slits in, we have this big, nice little piece here to use as our pop-up. We're gonna open up our paper, okay? And we're gonna push the slit inside. So our paper is gonna look kind of like this, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna refold our paper in half with the slit inside. So it's almost like having a window with the slit folded inside, okay? And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna squeeze the paper down to kind of press that slit inside the paper. So now you should look like this, okay? Kind of looks like maybe a C, okay? And now when we open up inside, you'll see we created this little pop-up, right? We have this now piece inside that's gonna make our little pop-up book, okay? So then when we open it like this, our number will unfold and pop up, okay? So what you will do, and I'll do this first one with you, and then I'll explain how to do the second one, and then I'll let you guys kind of get to the end. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut out the number 1. We're just gonna cut out number 1. So if you're done coloring that, you can cut it out real quick, okay? Do some scissor work here. I don't know how many people out there are left-handed, but I am left-handed. And one of the things I always hated in school was cutting things out because they never had left-handed scissors at school. And so when I would cut at school with the school scissors, the scissors would not cut nice because I made them they like cut the wrong direction when I'm cutting. And so they would just kind of fold. The paper would fold over the scissor blades and not actually cut. And it was super, super frustrating. So I finally told my mom, you know what, Mom? You gotta buy me some left-handed scissors because I need to be able to cut good. And so every time I would go to school then, I would have my own scissors because that was the only way I could get left-handed scissors and cut stuff good. So lefties out there, if you're struggling with cutting in school, I feel your pain. I know that pain. I dealt with that pain. And I really hope that the education system has moved on and found a way to really, look past discriminating against left-handed people and saying, hey, we got to make sure we have good left-handed scissors for everyone because no one wants to be a bad cutter. And we don't want people to think they're bad cutters just because they have bad scissors. All right. So I've cut out my number 1 that I colored, okay? We're going to take our little book, our little pop-up book here, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to glue our number 1 on this bottom part of the pop-up, okay? So if I'm holding my pop-up like this, okay, I only want to glue on this side. So I've got some purple glue here. You'll see where I'm gluing. If I can get it open, I'm gonna have to use my teeth maybe. Nope, I got it. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna take some glue. I'm going with the glue stick and I'll show you really quick where I'm gluing, okay? So you'll see it's purple now. So this is what I have. I'm just glued on the bottom part, not the top. We just want to be glued on this part, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my number 1 and I'm gonna put it about halfway down on this pop-up, okay? So now it looks like this, okay, right? I've got it in there, it's popping up, but what I need to do is I need to glue this part down to the paper, okay? So it's popped up. What I found is easiest is if you take your number 1 and you fold your paper back together like this, like the way we had it, that's gonna fold your number for you, so that when you open it up again, you'll know where you have to glue it down. Because see how it's folded now? Down like this. So it'll be good. So you can open it back up. And I don't know, you can see here my number 1 hangs out a little bit, right? So that's not a big deal, right? Because we all get to make our own book, and this is what makes it look like your own. Because that way no one's going to do it the exact same way you did. Everyone's going to have different amounts of their numbers and things hanging out of the page. Okay, so we have our 1. It's glued down to my back of my little pop-up. Now I'm going to glue this piece down to my sheet of paper below so that that doesn't flap up when I do my book. So we add a little glue there. Okay, we glue it down to the sheet of paper, just like so. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm glued in, right? Now I have my pop-up number 1. So day 1 pops up. So like I said, you can color inside here if you want to be real creative, draw some different designs or things like that to add extra color if you're using white paper, even if you're using color paper, okay? But so we have number 1. So we're gonna fold this back together, okay? So this is our first page, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take another sheet of paper, okay? Same thing, folding it hamburger style, okay? So fat ways, not tall ways, okay? Get a nice little fold in there, okay? Crease it down. Then same thing we did last time, right? We're gonna cut a couple slits in here, okay? So we're gonna take our scissors, gonna cut a slit here, and we're gonna cut a slit here, okay? And we have our little piece on the outside, right? So we're gonna open our sheet. We're gonna push that little bit through so that it's now on the inside. Do a little folding in here like this. And then we're gonna make our C once again so that we have our little pop-up. Okay, so our inside where we cut is now folded in. We've created our C, and now our pop-up page is good to go, right? So we go like this, and we're all set. So right, we're folding hamburger style, and our book's gonna open hamburger style, okay? So real quick, let's cut out our number 2, just so we have something to show you how to do, kind of attach all your pages together, okay? So I'm gonna quickly cut out my number 2. You guys can do the same, and then I'll show you how to attach them together, and then I'll give you a little tip of how to kind of make it nice and close it off after you get all the way done. And then we'll be all set with our craft for today. So when you guys are done doing your craft, maybe you should go outside and enjoy some creation. So one thing, besides seeing your finished either posters or pop-up books when they're all done, if you're gonna post them on our Facebook page, something else that you can leave a comment about, hey, this is my favorite thing about creation. So you can tell me what your favorite flower is, or you can tell me what your favorite tree is. Maybe you like to climb trees and that's why you like creation. You like to go outside, climb trees, get really high, be like a monkey or a squirrel, do something like that. Maybe you like swimming, so your favorite thing to do in creation is to go to a lake and do some swimming, or fishing. Maybe you like fishing. I just went fishing with Mr. Caleb and Mr. Joel, my 2 boys, on Tuesday. We actually went to Miss Cindy's house. So if you guys are like, hey, I want to do some fishing, if you ask Miss Cindy really nicely and your parents really nicely, you might be able to sneak over to their place and do some fishing, because we had a really good time over there. Right, so maybe that's what you like about creation. Maybe you like fishing because you get to not only be outside in nature by water, you also, if you are a lucky fisherman or fisherwoman, you might actually catch something and get to see some creation that way. So you get to be outside in creation and you get to catch some creation, right? Or maybe the thing you like to do in creation is you like to climb, not trees, but you can go and climb like mountains. So if you do rock climbing, I know that Pastor George's son, Nathan, is super into rock climbing. So he likes to go climb things and be kind of a crazy man. So maybe that's your thing. Maybe you like to climb things. Or maybe you are a person like Caleb who likes caterpillars and butterflies. So you just like to go outside and see some caterpillars and butterflies, see them flying around and doing their thing. So yeah, just go on to our Facebook page, leave us a little bit of a comment besides your picture. Leave us what your favorite part about creation is, and that would be pretty cool. So then another thing you can leave for us is if you were so inspired by the song that we learned for our lesson today, maybe you can show us some of your dance moves if you have some dancing, because you're so excited to hear about God's creation that it makes you dance. So if you did some dancing while you listen to the song, or if you do dancing while you listen to other songs about God, maybe you post yourself dancing, because dancing's fun and God likes to see us having fun. So you can do that, to post yourself dancing, maybe post yourself singing a song that you made up or a song that you really like. Post that on there, because that'd be pretty cool too. All right, so I cut out my number 2. Here's my number 2 with the clouds we got, right? So same thing, we got our cutout really quick. We're only going to glue on the bottom part right here because we don't want to glue the top together. So we take our little bit of glue here, put it on there once again, right inside. Purple, we're going to take our number 2, we're going to glue it down roughly halfway. Then we're going to fold our paper back in half so we know where we got to fold the bottom. That's right, we look like this. Hey, this time I didn't have a number 2 point out, but if your 2 is popping out, you'll be okay. Right? We open it back up to get our pop up, and we know we got to glue this section down real quick. So we're going to glue down the bottom of our number 2 on our book, and then we'll be good to go for what you need to do to finish this project and make an entire book. Okay, fold this back together real quick. Okay, because you're probably wondering, hey, yeah, I can make all these pages, but how did you get them all together? Okay, right? So here really quick, here's our number 2, right, that pops up, so we're good. There's our pop-up. Like I said, you can draw some more pictures on your pages if you want to be more creative. But what you're going to do is we're going to glue our pages together, right? So if we hold up our page, right, we have our number 1, right? And so this is the bottom of the number 1, so we're going to want to put glue on this entire side of the paper, okay? So I'll show you real quick. Like I said, mine's purple, so you will see. So we are going to glue it all together, put a bunch of purple glue on here so that we make it nice and sticky. Okay, so can you see that? We got our purple glue in there, right? So we're good to go. That's the side we're gluing together. So we know that's the bottom, okay? That's the bottom of our page. And we want to make sure that connects to the top of our next page, right? So here's our number 2, right? So this is the top of the page, so it's the part that we're not glued the number 2 on, right? And that's what I want my glue page to be glued to, okay? So I'm gonna just move it down. We're gonna put it together. We're just gonna line them up, corners to corners. There we go, corners to corners. And you will see that my slits don't line up exactly, but that's okay, because we'll fix that at the end. So we're going to glue it together, okay? So we glued the bottom of the number 1 page to the top of the number 2 page, so now they're like one page. So now my page 2 goes together, right? So page 1, and I grab page 2, they're together. So what you're going to do is you're going to glue all your pages together like that. You're just going to keep going. So you'll make a page with a slit for number 3. You'll glue that to number 2. Right, so you'll put glue on the bottom of number 2, and then you'll put the glue on the bottom on the top of number 3, and you'll glue all the way through until you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then once you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have them all glued together like this. Okay, what you're going to do then is I took a bigger sheet of this is construction paper. You can use regular paper if that's all you have though, but you're going to make like a cover to your book. Okay. So you'll get one more sheet. You can cut out the words creation like I did, or you can write it on there, whatever you want to do. You can color in the letters if you want to color in the letters. And then you're going to put glue, right? So this is our page 1 that we have here, right? You're going to put glue on the top of page 1, and then on page 7, you're going to put glue on the bottom. And what you're going to do, as you can see here, what I did is I just took a whole sheet of paper, my construction paper, and I glued this to the top of page 1, right? and I glued the other side, this side, to the bottom of page 7, and that's how I got my entire book. So that's how we're going to get, if you go all the way through, you can get kind of this cool little pop-up creation book that will remind you of the different days. So that is that, Faith Street Kids. Like I said, post your stuff on Facebook for us so we can see how you're doing, and someone will have a lesson for you next week. Hope you enjoyed everything we did today. Remember that God created everything. He created it perfect, and there's a little bit of God inside of me and you, because that's how He created us, because He created us in His image, right? So enjoy the rest of your day, and we look forward to seeing you soon. See you later.